All right, this is a video on atomic structure, and atoms are what we study a lot in chemistry class, so we got to know a lot about the structure of an atom. First of all, an atom is just the smallest unit of matter of an elemental substance, okay? So there are many, many elemental substances that are all listed here on the periodic table of elements, which we will get very familiar with in this class. And each of the different type of element has their own type of atom. So all carbon atoms look the same, and they're a little bit different than all nitrogen atoms, which all look the same. So every element has its own type of atom. Okay, and here's a good representation of what an atom looks like. All right, in the center we have what's called the nucleus. And in the nucleus, this is where all of the mass of the atom is. And it's made of two different, what we call subatomic particles. And the ones that I've got here in red, those are what we call protons. Those are positively charged. They have a positive electrical charge. And then the white ones here, those are called neutrons, and these guys are neutrally charged. They actually do not have an electrical charge, okay? So nucleus, again, is made of protons and neutrons, and that's where all of the mass of the atom really is. This stuff around the, I guess I'll say this first. Protons and neutrons are the same size, and so they both have equivalent masses. It's just, you know, the difference is that protons are a positive charge and neutrons are neutrally charged, okay? This part, the electron cloud, which are these circles around the nucleus, of which there can be up to 7. We're gonna stick with elements that have just 1, 2, or 3 of these circles around them. But the electron cloud, that's where the electrons live. And electrons are very, very super tiny. They are just a very small fraction of the size of a proton or a neutron. They're negatively charged, and they are in the same amount as the number of protons. So if we look at this atom, this is an atom of, let's see how many protons, 1, 2, 3. This is an atom of nitrogen, and with the 7 protons in there, it's canceled out. Those positive 7 protons are canceled out by 7 negative electrons, okay? And the reason that I know that this is nitrogen is because of the number of protons in the nucleus, okay? So here's what you're gonna see. This is just a blow up of nitrogen right here. Okay, so these little boxes all contain some numbers and symbols and stuff. The number at the top in the corner up here, the 7, that is the atomic number. That's really the identifying number for this type of atom. So there's no other atom out there except for a nitrogen atom that would have 7 protons in the nucleus, okay? So as long as we're talking about a neutral atom, that the atomic number is actually also the number of electrons as well. So that is subject to some change, as we'll see after a while. You should really think of that number as the number of protons, okay? And so the way that the periodic table is set up, you can see here that hydrogen starts with a 1 in the corner, helium is 2, lithium 3, beryllium 4, boron is 5, carbon 6, nitrogen 7. So you can see that as you go across these rows, the atomic number increases by 1, which means that the like a nitrogen nucleus has 7 protons and a carbon nucleus has 6. Boron nucleus has 5. So that's the way that works. The letters that you see in the box, that's the element symbol. And some of them are 2 letters and some of them are only 1. And then the number below the symbol is the atomic mass. And the atomic mass is gonna become pretty important to us, but it's just an added up number of the protons and neutrons in the nucleus. Remember, I said earlier that only the nucleus contains any of the mass. The electrons are just so small they don't really account for any of the mass. And so in some of your work, you're asked to determine the number of neutrons in an atom. And as long as you have this information, you can tell how many neutrons there are, even though neither of these numbers is really specific to a neutron. But if you just take the atomic mass, which we'll just use the nitrogen example here, the atomic mass is 14, and the atomic number is 7. 14 minus 7 is 7, so there are 7 neutrons in a nitrogen atom as well. Now, that doesn't always equal the number of protons. In a lot of elements it does, but in some of them it does not. Okay, so I hope that helps with your understanding of atomic structure.